Hello everybody, my name is Ibanithos, and welcome to Gaming with Spirit in a nutshell. We're talking about Limbo today, more particularly Limbo Prime. Now, I do have Limbo himself, but he has been formatted, so I wanted to kind of give, a showcase of just the differences between a regular Warframe and its Prime variant. So as you look at Limbo Prime here, you have 85 armor, 263 energy, 300 health, 300 shield, 1.5 sprint, 100% across the board. Now, Limbo by himself has 25 less energy, has about 20 less armor, and about 25 less shield. So there are some differences that may or may not be significant in overall gameplay. I mean, if you think about it, extra 20 armor is an extra 20 armor, and that extra 25 energy is 25 energy is 25 energy, and so is the extra 25 shield. But in the end, they still have the same power, strength, efficiency, duration, and range. So there's very little it's going to really change. So this is Limbo Prime's basic layout. So you have a dash polarity for the aura, 2 V polarities, a dash polarity, and a D polarity over here. Now Limbo himself, if I go remove all these, Limbo himself has a dash polarity, 2 V polarities, and I believe he might have actually just one V polarity and one D polarity. I'm not sure which one I actually added in. Beside the point. This is Limbo's basic layout. So he's still not super bad. He has some mod abilities. So we're of course not having any mods in our Limbo build here, and we will showcase what his abilities do. Now, in order to really showcase his abilities, I have to pick some weapons that are kind of crazy. I'm trying to remember if there's a... Does this one have... Yeah, 99% status. Okay. Ooh, that looks dark. Let's tint that a touch. I actually like that being... We'll just keep that white. This should be kind of chromium. There, it looks nice. I like... Ooh, what? No, go back there. Thank you. Back to my aesthetic. There we go. Okay. So this is a very powerful weapon. But I want to use it to showcase something in particular, because that status chance is going to be super interesting. So, we'll do our normal level 30 enemies here. So we'll simulate them. So Limbo is often referred to as a troll frame because he's a fairly complex character, and because of that he has some unique mechanics that are hard to understand at first. So the first thing to get to used to is his roll mechanic. So most Warframes roll. Limbo dashes into the void. And so he leaves a little rift behind. Allies can pass through the rift and actually enter his rift for a short time. I think it's like 10 or 15 seconds. So while he is in the rift, you slowly gain energy. And every time an enemy is killed inside the rift, everyone inside of it also gets energy. So it's a good way of restoring energy. So Limbo by himself actually becomes a fairly useful energy pool. He's better than Trinity in some respects, depending on how he's used. Now, his first ability is Banish here. He casts a wave of rift energy that damages hostiles while pushing enemies and allies out of Limbo's current plane of existence. So, for example, I cannot target these enemies here. It's invalid, because they are in the normal plane of existence and I'm in the rift, as you can see by these black kind of, swirl. If I dash out of it, however, I can do that. Now, while allies have this effect, they are unaffected by weapons. Okay? Unaffected by weapons entirely. This guy is able to be affected, as you can see, just got annihilated. But all the rest of them can't be affected. But if I go into the rift, I can kill them. So, that's one of the biggest reasons why Limbo is considered trolly, because my banish lasts for 24 seconds, unmodded. So 24 seconds where enemies become technically invulnerable, unless you can pass through a rift left behind by a Limbo, or if you get hit by Limbo's banish. Because yes, I can banish these enemies right back out of the rift if I wanted to. And I can't affect the ones that are outside the rift. So Limbo has the ability to kind of troll his partners, jumping in and out of the rift and knocking enemies down and that kind of stuff. As you can see, it's actually semi-useful from CC and control. Now, his second ability is a little bit more interesting. Second ability is as follows: Stasis. Stasis used to be this huge troll issue because it used to freeze projectiles. Now it only freezes enemy projectiles, which kind of makes me a little sad because it used to be a great way of doing certain Riven challenges and just you could stasis a boss or something and just unload a bunch of ammo right into its face and then unstasis, and it would just like annihilate a boss in like a single hit, or what would appear to be a single hit. So now enemy projectiles are arrested and resume its trajectory when stasis ends. So this basically freezes enemy projectiles now. So I'll jump out. Now, besides freezing the enemy projectiles, it also freezes the enemy. I can, as you can see, kill them, and they can't move. They can't do anything. They are on the ground. But I can't kill them in the normal rift, once again. Shot him in the butt. They have a pointy butt. That's weird. Anyways, so one of the things to take away from Limbo's stasis is it's kind of an interesting mechanic. And if they haven't changed it, there's a really, really cool thing it can do, which I will showcase later, after I've explained the 4 basics. So, besides this, Limbo has Rift Surge. Surge is his third ability. As you can see here, it surges nearby bound enemies with Rift Energy. When killed, the Rift Surge is transferred to a nearby enemy outside the Rift, and surge enemies that leave the Rift perform a radial banish. So it basically is a banish that effect. So for example, if I jump out here, get to this guy here, so I got 3 of them in that, so I'll do this, so I'll shift, hit my 3 button, and then the enemies are surrounded by this kind of this interesting, unique energy. And then if I banish them, oh look, now they're all here, and they're all rifted. I can stasis them and do all sorts of crazy stuff. And if one of them leaves the rift via, the countdown timer, then he banishes his nearby allies. Look at that. And again. The surge is a great way of maintaining enemies inside your rift from vast distances, actually. It's a phenomenal skill. So anyways, it also does a small amount of damage because, of course, you're banishing it in a radius effect. Okay, so that's his ooh, goodbye. Goodbye, cruel world. So those are his basic effects. Now I'm going to talk about his last one here. His last one is, in my opinion, one of his best ones, is Cataclysm. So Cataclysm, he basically blasts. It's like a frost globe, but it can be much bigger, deal damage, and not have a lifespan. And because it's inside the rift, inside the Cataclysm, you can use stasis to maintain enemy distances from, say, mobile defense, or even certain survival objectives. Fascinating to realize, and I will showcase this later too, is that when Limbo and his allies are in the rift, they cannot be hurt by ancient auras or energy Xmas. So, fun fact there. So we'll go ahead here and we're gonna... There it is. As you can see, it killed someone. This is the static range of a Cataclysm. A fairly good-sized bubble, and once again, inside of it, all allies inside the bubble actually gain energy regeneration. And as you can see, as my timer goes, the Cataclysm is pulling itself closer in. But I can wrist surge this, jump out, and keep them inside the rift. Kind of nifty, right? Again, the way that Limbo plays is kind of a combination of assassin and rogue. I mean, I know that most people say, wait, isn't an assassin a rogue? No. Rogues are people who play and do traps, where assassins come out of nowhere and just kill people. There's a small difference to them. Most of the rogues have to set up for their kills and prepare themselves for, numerous enemies usually, where assassins are a single target. So, I've shown you the 4 basic abilities. And I will show you a couple interesting mechanics with them as well. Really quick here. So we're going to bump these guys up to 135. Okay, and I'm going to show you first this gun. Okay, so the gun hits. So now it's applied a slash effect. So we'll watch for a second here, and you'll see the slash effect lasts for a few seconds, and then we're good to go. Now if I can apply a slash effect, vanish, and stasis, theoretically, the slash effect lasts as long as the stasis effect lasts. As you can see, it's going much longer than normally it would have. This is a way Limbo players can actually be used to maintain buffs on people. Look at that. Look at that. He is still taking slash procs. This is an extremely unique feature of Limbo that most people don't realize. Limbo has the ability to freeze existing bleeds and status effects on enemies. It's a fantastic way for him to kill high-level enemies without having to lift a finger. Fun fact about it, too. If you apply this effect when you have lifesteal on, let's say you're using a melee weapon and you have, what's it called, lifestrike? You're using lifestrike, and you charge slash an enemy and hit them, and then you stasis them, you will continually gain life from a slash proc and having your lifestrike active. So basically channeling while running around with someone in stasis, you will constantly gain energy, or not energy, but health from that enemy, giving you basically a form of tankiness with Limbo that most people don't realize he has. Now, of course, I'll also show the other one here. So, well, I guess I'm just going to have to go with these guys. So we'll go with a group of 6 of them. And I'm going to boop into the rift, and I will show you exactly what I meant earlier. Take a look. They have, well, we got some caustic, some venomous, some parasitic. Normally, my energy would be going down, and I would be taking tons of damage from poison. But because of how the rift functions, Limbo doesn't have to worry about these guys. It's one of the big reasons why people use him for certain spy missions, because of how unique that effect is. Now, once again, I can simply go over here, start unloading into people. Now, and if I get close, look at that. Because they're in the rift, I don't have to worry about taking damage from them. But if I enter the rift, as you can see there, I will start taking poison damage and losing energy and all sorts of other things. So one of the things to remember about Limbo is, if enemies are in the rift, they can affect him. But if enemies are outside the rift, they can't, regardless of what those effects actually are. So since I showed those 2 kind of cool little features, the stasis effect with the slash damage, which I'll show you a little bit more in depth after I do some modifications. And I also, of course, showed you how the rift counteracts a lot of ancient aura effects. So we're going to be looking at, of course, Limbo Prime here. We're going to throw on a very basic, we'll, of course, do Energy Siphon, because why the hell not? Beyond that, we're going to throw on some Continuity. And we'll probably do a touch of Drift, actually. For that extra energy, you don't really need damage. For high-level Limbos, you need the range, you need the duration. The efficiency is not so important. So I got that little extra range there. Go ahead and drop into this one. I'll go do the overextended and the narrow-minded. Both are needed for this. In fact, you can actually usually scrap overextended to keep your duration as high as you possibly can. But since you're not really not losing any duration by using overextended, it's best just to run it, because the lower power strength actually isn't a big threat for him. So these are the 2 mods that normally you would run, but of course, if you don't have these, and all you have is this, you'll probably run in here, you'll look for something like Intensify, maybe throw that on there. If you really have to, I would recommend not. In this particular one, If you don't have overextended, and of course you won't have Limbo or Limbo Prime might not have this selection for you right away. I know Limbo Prime does. In that case, just ignore it for now and focus on getting narrow-minded, because that's going to be super important for you. Otherwise, put on Constitution if you have that. If you don't, of course, run yourself with Natural Talent if you get that, because that's a super useful mod. Again, if you don't have Natural Talent, you can just put on Stretch, Augur Message, Augur Reach, and put on some maybe put on Streamline and Flow. So this being your build and layout, giving yourself a decent selection across the board of skills. And this will make your abilities last a good deal of time. Your stasis will last 23 seconds. Your banish will have a huge range, good duration. Rift Surge and everything else will have just overall a good amount of effect. Now, once again here, we're going to kill these enemies. We're gonna only summon. We're only gonna summon one Arid Lancer. Keep him at level 135. There we go. So we're gonna showcase this. We're gonna showcase the difference and just how powerful his skill can really be. Boom. All right. So there we go. We have now 20 seconds of slash damage procs affecting this unit. That's minimal. Look at that. So when people tell you, oh, Limbo's a troll frame, Limbo can't do anything, Limbo can do some pretty scary stuff with stasis. It also, fun fact, works with other forms of status effects, including burning, toxin, and everything else. So it's a fantastic way of building certain skills on yourself. Now, again, that was an economy build. I'll show you a couple. I think I have two of his. Yeah, I have Rift Torrent, which is a fantastic skill. If you can get Rift Torrent for Limbo and you want to run him as a DPS, because yes, he can, maximum range and Rift Torrent, and he will just crush everybody. Duration is not important with the crush Limbo. Just Rift Torrent, power strength, range, boomstick. Everything dies. Because Rift Torrent gives you 30% extra damage for each enemy affected by Rift Surge in the Rift. So while you're in the Rift, you get 30% extra damage per enemy, and it gets pretty nasty. I've gotten to like 3,000 or 4,000% increased damage, and I know people are like, well, Chroma can get to like 1,000. It's like, yeah, Chroma can get to like 800 tops for one, and even with more power strength from other abilities and power donation, you can get to 1,000. True, but I'm sorry, stupidly strong. Absolutely stupidly strong with Rift Torrent. The other one is Cataclysmic Continuum. Cataclysmic Continuum, of course, gives you extra duration for your Cataclysm when each enemy is killed. Now, this does not mean that each enemy killed inside Cataclysm. This is just each enemy killed inside the Rift. So you can actually use Cataclysm to maintain a defensive bubble and then just run around and kill enemies in the Rift, and it will maintain it. It's kind of hard to maintain a good duration on the Cataclysm, unless you have a really high damage dealing frames to run around with. And on top of that is if you have a good high duration to finish it off. Like 300% duration will probably net you about 60 seconds of Cataclysm or 70 seconds of Cataclysm, which should give you more than enough time for most mobile defense missions. The other one, there's one other as far as I know for certain, and that is that's what they call it, Haven or something like that. Basically, when you banish an ally, this the Haven augment will give them 30% of their health back. So I will show you what that looks like now. All right. I believe it's Cephalon Suda that has it, which would make sense.
Do you see anything interesting?
So we got Haven. It is called Haven. Banish augment, allies banished to the Rift will have 25% of their maximum health restored. It's super useful. Limbo can become not only an energy restorer with his Void and his Rift, but he can also become a healer to some degree with his Banish. It's a super useful set of tricks and traits. And I will admit there are some still glitches with Limbo. For example, if you are a Gara and you're building your Shatterstorm will not kill enemies either in the Rift or out of the Rift. It's kind of weird. If you're in the rift, it won't kill enemies outside the rift, and it also won't kill enemies in the rift. But if you're outside the rift, it will kill enemies in the rift. It's really weird. But mostly you can use abilities inside Cataclysm or in the rift, and they'll kill everything around you. So it's great for people who like Excalibur or Mesa, Saren, people who just are a little bit squishy. Well, maybe not Excalibur, but Mesa and Saren for sure, who are kind of squishy, need the extra energy, and just it works great for them. They're just fantastic. So everybody, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and I messed up. Limbo can be acquired through the Limbo Theorem. The Limbo Theorem is a quest that you pick up, so I'll show you the Limbo Theorem here. So the Limbo Theorem, wherever it is, been so long. Oh, maybe it's higher up here. Oh, there it is. So the Limbo Theorem is a quest you have to get after you get Archwing. And it's kind of a long, tedious quest. I will admit to that. But doing it is pretty useful. I think you get it in Mars or something. And there's the Valkyr. I'm pretty sure you get the Archwing fairly early on in the game. I'm not 100% sure when. Nope, okay. So it might be after Earth. Maybe it's after Earth you get it or something like that. It's the Mars Junction. There's the Archwing quest. So I think you get the Howl of the Kubro earlier. That's the Archwing quest. After Archwing, you get the Limbo Theorem, because you can't do Limbo Theorem without Archwing. That might be the Phobos Junction. That's Stolen Dreams. Ceres Junction? No, I just looked at Ceres Junction. Phobos. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. So it's right around in these next couple where you'll find the Limbo Theorem. And doing it is pretty darn annoying, but it's great to get done because Limbo can be a fantastic frame for a lot of different things. He's good for spies if you don't have a stealth frame like Loki or Ivara or your operator mode yet. He's great for mobile defense missions, in some cases survival, especially against the infested. So feel free to play around Limbo Prime if you want, or Limbo, and if he works for you, he works for you. That's kind of how everything works out. Remember, duration for Limbo is super important, especially because of how his stasis works. So everybody, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video this morning or afternoon, whenever you happen to have watched it. If you like it, please subscribe for more content or leave a comment in the comment section. If you didn't like it, leave me some hate if you want in the comment section. Let me know how I'm doing, because even if I see people get mad at me for something, at least I can improve my next video. So again, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye, everybody.